Dauntless Lives shines a spotlight on ordinary people living extraordinary lives, as the host Luana talks to inspiring guests who are making an impact and sharing their experiences and messages with the world. And with all this, alongside our resident metal yoga expert and live music, here's your host, Luana Ribeira.
You are going to love our first special guest on Dauntless TV. With me today, I have one of the world's leading Akashic record readers, Daniela Birch.
Hi, Daniela. How are you?
So fantastic to have you on today. So first, I just want to ask you, what does it mean? What does it mean to be an Akashic record reader? What even is that?
Great question, isn't it? So I basically can connect to what's called your past life selves. So I work on a multi-dimensional level. So to receive my answers, I go into your past life history. So if you've got issues falling pregnant, if you're finding your relationships aren't working, I go back to that timeline and get to the core root problem as to what's going on in your life.
Wait, so are you saying that if there's somebody who's struggling to get pregnant or is having trouble in their relationship or something like that, that it could be something that's connected not just to this life but a past life?
Absolutely. So especially in the fertility industry, I've helped roughly 5 people fall pregnant and have their child because I went back into their past life history and saw there was a lot of trauma that was being stored in the womb. So if you've lost a child while giving birth, as an example, sometimes that soul part of you is not on board to fall pregnant. So I tap into that soul part of you and we have a conversation, and then I work on helping that aspect heal, and then they can fall pregnant.
That's amazing. So then they've gone and got pregnant.
Yes.
What's come up as a result of doing that? So how do you do this?
So the way that I work is I tap directly into what's called your highest self. So that's the highest aspect of you, and I have a conversation with you. I talk to your womb, I talk to your partner's higher self, and we make sure that everyone is on board, because sometimes you're not in the right relationship. Sometimes the partner doesn't want the child too, so there might be a block in their sperm. So I don't always look at just the female, because it's not fair to blame just the female. And I can also talk to the unborn child, and the unborn child will say, Mum needs some more iron, she's not quite ready, she's still holding on to trauma from a relationship. You might be in your masculine energy, because a lot of the time women who have polycystic cysts, as an example, are carrying a lot of anger in their womb. So I address every aspect of you, whether it's your inner child, whether it's a past life self, husband. And that's how it works.
So you talk to the unborn child, you find out what the child needs to be able to come into the world.
Yes, correct.
And then you carry that message onto the parents. Is that right?
Yes, so I sit in a trance state for roughly 2 to 3 hours with no noise, and then I receive that information. It's all written down, and then we sit on a phone call and we talk about what came up. So sometimes it can be vitamin deficiencies, anger issues with their dad, and or it could be something to do with their partner where they don't trust them. So anything can show up. Everyone's different.
On that note, you've got a book out, haven't you, Daniela?
I do.
What's it called?
Fuck the Fairy Tale Ending.
I love that name. It's a great name for a book. And what is your book about?
So it's basically around how we're not just meant to be with the one partner for life in this day and age. So I talk a lot about affairs, why we enter into other relationships while still in a marriage, and I've had 3 affairs myself, so I have really talked about my journey with soulmates and why that happened. So
Why is it? Why does that happen?
well, a lot of the time, believe it or not, we have what's called soul contracts with people before we come here. And so if you're not learning and evolving in that relationship, sometimes you outgrow them, or it becomes more of a friendship. It feels like you're with your brother or sister. And so the message that I really put in my book is, hey, it's time to move on. You've got nothing left to learn here. So that's why you're attracted to someone else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What's a soul contract?
So a soul contract is basically an agreement that you've made with a person. So as an example, I agreed to come onto this show. That was our soul contract. As soon as I leave, the soul contract's done. So you may have agreed to have, say, 2 children with your partner, and then you're going to be together 15 years, and then if that relationship isn't going anywhere, then the contract's coming up to be renewed.
And how do you know when that happens?
Usually when you start to look outside the marriage, usually when you start to look at other people, because, you know, if you're not getting your sexual needs met, then that's why we usually look outside the relationship. Yeah.
Very interesting. Daniela, what would you say to anybody watching this who might be a bit skeptical about what all of these things that you're claiming?
Sure. Book in a session with me and see for yourself. I say things that no one else could know. In fact, the lady out there, before I taught her child's name, like just straight off it came through, and gave her child's name. I literally just know things that there's no way anyone else could know.
Amazing.
So I talk to trees, I talk to people that have passed over. So if you've got a relative that you haven't let go of and you miss, then I can do mediumship and also talk to them.
And you mentioned that you talk to trees.
Yes.
What do trees tell you?
Trees are the wisest things, Luana. Oh my goodness, they say the most profound things, just to trust what's happening in the world, and they are the ones in control.
So is this what you do? You know, if you start feeling a bit overwhelmed, anxious or whatever, do you go and talk to trees?
Yes, I don't hug them, but I just put my hands on them for about 5 minutes, and then they'll start to communicate with me. Absolutely. I talk to animals too. Animals, anything.
I always feel this amazing energy around trees. Like, I know that when I'm anxious or overwhelmed, or I just everything's getting to me, I need to be in nature and I need to touch a tree, and then I feel better.
Absolutely. That's why we have amazing medicines like tree essences and the bark flower remedies, because it works on the emotional body, and that's what they do for us. They help us clear our emotions. That's why it's important to be in nature. Absolutely.
And these days especially, because we're just surrounded by technology the whole time, aren't we?
Absolutely, yes. Very important that you get to listen to yourself, because the Wi-Fi and all the other, you know, the 5G towers are not good for your physical body at all. And another thing, that's something that's coming through, people falling pregnant at the moment. A lot of the radiation is a big problem. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you do such interesting stuff. I could sit here and talk to you all day. I really could.
Right.
How did you get to doing all of this? Like, how did you learn that you've got that gift, that you can communicate with animals, with trees, with past lives, with all the rest of it? How do you find that out? And how did it feel when you realised what was happening, or when you realised that it's not everybody who can do this stuff?
Very early on, I saw spirits in my room.
Did that scare you?
Yes, of course. Yes, I had imaginary friends that I used to have as my real friends in many ways, because I came here feeling very different. My parents didn't understand me. So I felt like a real recluse for a long time. And it wasn't until I was in my teenagers that I discovered that I'm actually telepathic, that I can read people's minds. So I could tell if some of the kids at school didn't like me, and it was really hard because I could hear them saying things and I didn't understand it.
That must have been really, really hard as a child.
Yes.
Do you hear the voice in your head, or do you see things? Like, how do you know what people are thinking? How does it confront
I'm
you?
clairaudient mainly. So clairaudient is when I hear the messages in my ear, And I'm also sentient, which is where you feel things around you. So I switched off my clairvoyancy quite early on, so I don't see things around me, but I see maybe colours like white flashes every now and then. But yeah, I really discovered my abilities when I was in a psychic circle, and it was just natural, just came through really naturally. So developed it over time.
Does it get overwhelming? Like, are you able to switch it off? Or right now, are you just hearing everyone's thoughts?
I'm actually switched off, guys, so don't have to worry.
So are you fully in control of when you switch that on, when you switch it off?
Yeah, I really had to learn to be discerning, because even going into, say, a shopping centre, I would just get too overwhelmed with all the energies. Yeah, it was really painful. I would just cry because it was just too much. So I had to learn boundaries. Yeah, spiritual boundaries, so I just didn't pick up on everything.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Daniela, it's been absolutely fascinating talking to you.
Thank you.
Where can people find you?
So you can find me on Facebook, on TikTok, on Instagram, all under my name, Daniela _Birch. Yeah, follow me, I love it.
Thank you, Daniela.
Thank you, Luana.
Our amazing guest, Daniela Birch.
Thank you.
Welcome to Metal Yoga. I'm Stephanie and I'm your host of today's yoga practice. Now, if you've ever taken a yoga class before, you probably remember like birds and bees and chirping, right? That kind of shit. Now, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, but I want to bring you a practice that is more aligned to who you are, the badass inside, so you can leave today slaying everything that you plan on doing, crushing your day and being amazing. We all have moments of doubt. Today is not that day for you, because when you leave, you're going to feel amazing and feel badass in just 4 minutes. We're going to be doing 2 exercises today. The first one, we're going to shout together, and every time you practice with me, you're going to shout. This is going to be a really amazing, positive push and affirmation, so you can remind yourself of that. And then we're going to do 1 exercise together so you can be feeling stronger. Are you ready? I know I am. All right, so let's do this. So we are going to start by shouting, okay? So this is going to involve you saying 5 times, and I will count down with you. So we'll go 3, 2, 1, and then you'll say, I am a fucking badass. I know what you're thinking, right? It's like, why am I saying that shit? This is yoga, right? This is not your regular yoga, all right? So we're going to be saying, I am a fucking badass 5 times, 3 seconds in between. And then each time that I say 3, you're going to say it again. And each time you're going to say it louder. So 5 times, 3, 2, 1, and then repeat. All right, you ready? All right, so in 3, 2, 1. I am a fucking badass. All right, you got this. 3, 2, and 1. I am a fucking badass. Yes. 3, 2, and 1. I am a fucking badass. All right, we're not even there yet. 3, 2, 1. I am a fucking badass. Yes. How's it feel? 3, 2, and 1. I am a fucking badass. All right, how do you feel? Oh, you feel excited? You feel ready? You feel ready to do this? All right, so today's exercise is going to be high lunge. You're gonna bear with me because I might fall over. So if you find this to be challenging, don't worry about it. All right, so we're gonna stand here in mountain pose. So feet are gonna be about sit bone distance. And I just want you to move around, start to move your joints around, feel into it. Feel into your feet and notice what your feet are doing. And before we move into this, let's go ahead and breathe together to really infuse today's practice. So we're gonna do this once together. So deep inhale through the nose, Exhale through the nose. Okay, I want you to keep doing that. Really be intentional with this breathing. So starting with the left foot forward, we're gonna take our right foot back. So left knee stays nice and bent. You're gonna step your right foot back. Bend your right knee, and you're gonna come here into your high lunge. You're gonna reach up with your arms. Beautiful. Inhale to reach up, straighten your legs. All right, exhale, bring it in, fist of fire. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, beautiful. 2 more. Awesome, use that core. Beautiful, reach your arms up, and then you're gonna step forward into forward fold. Check out your feet, let that go. And we gotta match up the other side. So right foot forward, make sure your right knee is nice and soft. And then from here, you're going to step your left foot back. And you're gonna bend your left knee, bring it down. So you wanna lift your core. Chest is back, reach up, beautiful. Inhale to reach up, straighten your legs a little bit. Exhale, you got this. 3 more, beautiful. 2, 1, use that breath. Awesome, inhale, reach up, and bring it in. Beautiful. And then from here, you're gonna step your hands down and step back into downward facing dog, which is like an upside down V. Bend your knees, come down to the floor, and then make your way into child's pose and enjoy the rest of your day. This was Stephanie, and have a wonderful, badass day.
Guest today on Dauntless TV is fitness and lifestyle coach Martin Sharp. Welcome, Martin.
Thank you very much, Luana. Great to be here.
So happy you could join me. So you've got a remarkable story that I think a lot of people will relate to. So you're a fitness and lifestyle coach. Where did it all begin?
Well, I've not always been a fitness and lifestyle coach. My background's actually in business transformations, and I've been doing that for 2.5 decades. And I think this part of my journey, though, my life, really started in 2014, because if you'd been with me back then, I'd kind of made this decision to take my mum, my kids and my wife, etc., away on holiday to Florida for an absolutely fantastic family holiday. Because my mum, she was a single parent, she couldn't afford to take me and my brother, she always wanted to take us to Disneyland. Oh. And I kind of thought, my business was doing okay, so why not treat her and let her have the same experience with her grandchildren?
Yeah, nice.
So we did that. I went up to Florida, and we stayed in a great place, and we're obviously right in with all the amusement parks. Went up to Clearwater Bay and over to Kennedy Space Centre, all sorts of things. Real nice time. But it was while we're at Universal Studios, we were queuing up for the Incredible Hulk ride with my kids. So if you can imagine, you stood there, I've got a 4-year-old in one hand, an 8-year-old in the other hand, they're both bouncing up like that. It's really, really exciting, yeah. And got to the front of the queue, and this lad, he looks about university age, you know what they're like when they're running the parks. And he goes, I'm sorry, sir, but you can't go on this ride. I says, excuse me? He says, you just can't go on this car. He says, but I've got a car that's specially made for you. I was thinking, hang on, what's this all about? And we were kind of moved to one side, so me and my kids, and we kind of just stood there, and obviously everybody else came and filled that car up, and we're kind of thinking, what's going on next? Anyway, this special car arrived, and it was for larger people, basically.
So they didn't tell you that first, they just said...
No. Okay. So then I kind of got positioned into this seat, which was almost like twice the width of the normal ones. And I was trying to get the restraint down top, and I couldn't get the restraint over the top of myself. And he says, I'm really sorry, but you can't go on this ride, you're just too big.
Wow.
And I was mortified, absolutely mortified.
How did that feel? Because you'd taken your kids all the way there, they'd been queuing, they were excited. How did it feel to first be told that you need to go in the special car, and then to not be able to get into that one? How did that feel?
My whole thought was about my kids at that point. I wasn't really
Yeah.
thinking about myself.
Yeah.
And so I was just wondering, how do I get this to happen? Now, thankfully, a friend of mine, Andy, came with us as well. It was a real big affair.
So the kids could still go
Yeah.
on. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, so the kids went on. They had a wonderful time, and I kind of stood at the side with my mum and wife and everybody, and it kind of just had to be away from that part of the holiday. And I'd love to say that was the only time that happened, but that kind of similar thing happened in various different theme park rides throughout the holiday we had. But I think the real big eye-opener for me was afterwards, as we're kind of looking through the photographs one evening while we were there. There's a picture of me sat on the monorail going into the Disney parks, and I have boobs bigger than my wife's boobs.
Okay.
And I was kind of just so shocked. I was thinking, how have I got myself into this position? Because it was only like 10 years previously. I was doing things like doing triathlons, and I was doing canoeing. I was doing slalom canoeing and things in competitions.
So how did you go from being somebody who was, fit and active to not being able to get on the special car?
Yeah, that was all down to work, really. Like with anything in life, when you've got something that you're doing and you're just absolutely focused on it, then straight away your attention disappears from other things, because you can only manage maybe 2 or 3 things in your life. So for me, it was all about making sure my family was okay, making sure work was okay, etc., clients we serviced, having time with friends, and that meant I didn't have any time for myself. And that really was the big decline.
So then how did you turn that around?
Well, straight after that holiday, I came back and I thought, I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to do something different. And I got a gym membership, so I signed up for the Virgin Active in Leeds. I got a lovely little PT lady, a lady called Kerry. She was like dynamo, so put me through
When
paces.
was that? Because I used to work there,
No way. So this was 2014.
Okay.
I didn't know you used to work in Virgin Active. There you go. So yeah, I downloaded a diet plan from the internet. I was trying my hardest to get those things done, and that didn't kind of work. So I did the join Weight Watchers thing. I when I was working away down in London, I used to join a friend's kickboxing gym. I even tried things like fat burning coffee. I mean, who the hell thinks fat burning coffee is going to work?
Isn't that just going to give you anxiety?
It's just people that are desperate, let's face it. You're just kind of grabbing onto anything.
And it's so common, isn't it? People try all of these things, like they'll see something that promises to be the next magic fix, just do this thing. And what have you got to say to people who are on that cycle right now, who are going from one diet to another, trying this thing, trying the next thing? What would you say to them?
Yeah, well, the thing with that is these little magic pills just don't work.
They don't work. It's a huge industry, isn't it? And they make, it's $1 billion industry, isn't it?
I think it's more than that, isn't it? Worldwide, definitely. I mean, in the UK, the fitness industry itself is multi-billion. So when you start to put that across the world, it's tremendous the amount of money that's spent.
Yeah.
Because everyone's looking for that quick fix, and that's the thing. And I was trying quick fixes for the best part of 5 years, and I managed to drop 10 kilos.
And what was it that eventually worked for you?
And it's funny you should say that, actually, because I'd got to the point in 2019 where I just wanted to give up, because I was kind of thinking, actually, I'm happy. I've got a loving family. My career was okay. So maybe this was me.
So you started just to accept that's and what shifted you from that into being where you are now?
Well, it was at another event. I was coaching down in the Felbridge Hotel near Gatwick. It's a Crown Plaza hotel, and over breakfast we saw a chap coming in, and he said, "Would you mind if I come have breakfast with you?" I said, yeah, no, just come have breakfast. We got chatting with him. When you see somebody and you think that person really looks after themselves. I mean, he was incredibly well chiseled, really well dressed. I mean, if I was, I probably would, but I'm not, so I can't. So it's that kind of thing. I was like, got to chatting to him, and we kind of moved the conversation over to his fitness. And what is it you do that kind of keeps you in shape? And he goes, he says, I used to be quite a large chap as well. And when you talk to these people in the gym, right, and they go, I used to be large, and actually they've put on like half a kilo or something.
Yeah.
The world's going to die.
Yeah.
No. So he gets his phone. He goes, no, really, very. I mean, he's going through these pictures on his phone, and sure enough, about 2 years prior, he was quite a chunky chap. And I was like, well, okay, this is good. So I said, what is it that you did? And he said, well, I actually started working with an online fitness coach. And I says, how's that kind of working? He says, it's funny you should ask that, because he's actually here at this event with me.
Okay.
I was like, my God, fate's line and all that kind of stuff. So I got chatting to him about it, and we started working on what could do around like the meal planning and the movement side of things. And I kind of started to bring in a lot of the stuff that I did around business transformations. So things like how do you schedule things in? How do you make time in your diary? How do you put priority in? How do you actually change your mindset around some of these things? And then learn even more over that period of time, just about how your body works and things. And from that, I was just fantastic. Within the first 3 months, I'd lost 10k. Within the first year, I lost 40k, and I'd done my first bodybuilding muscle shoot, photo shooty thing. I've been on front of magazines with it in total, and I was really. This is how bad your mindset can be sometimes when you're in that zone. And I kind of set myself a goal. I wanted to drop 10 stone. So that would take me from 24.25 stone to just over 14 stone. That was my target, and we got down to just about 15, because it was down from 154 kilos down to 94 kilos. So that's a 54-inch waist down to a 32-inch waist. And I was beating myself up. It's like, I've not managed to make that goal. I was like, my wife just turned around to me, Sarah. She said, you do realise you've dropped 60 kilos, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, of course, what was I thinking? I thought at that point, I thought, yeah, actually, I've done it. I'm kind of in a position where I feel a lot better. And then I was looking around in the marketplace, workplace, not marketplace, what am I talking about? And suddenly realising, actually, there's a lot of other people, actually, that I work with that are in exactly the same position. They work really hard, they've got families, and I started doing lots more research and things around it, and then found out, for example, in like the WHO, right, the World Health Organization, they do a survey around the world of what's going on. And back in 2010, they had 1 billion people on the planet were overweight or obese. And at that time, you had people like Jamie Oliver doing the whole meals for children, healthy eating, all that kind of stuff going on. And there's loads of other celebrities getting in on the act saying, we have to be champion being healthy and things. There's big noise in the industry saying, you have to eat less, move more, all that kind of stuff. So you think by 2019, we should be in a better position, right? But we're not. By 2019, WHO represented their figures, and it's 1.9 billion people.
Why do you think that is?
Because when you look at some of the evidence behind it, the fastest growing, no pun intended there, the fastest growing demographic in that 1.9 billion are busy professional people. Business owners, entrepreneurs, execs, doctors, nurses, anybody who's in a busy lifestyle, effectively. And so how do you now create something that works for them? I mean, I found something that worked for me.
Yeah.
But the whole industry is not designed for that element of people, because it's designed for people that can do the same things at the same time in the same place with the same person over and over again to build that repetition. But when you live and work in such a high stress, busy kind of environment all the time, where do you find that time?
So what would you say to somebody who is in that position right now?
What I say to them, first thing is just be kind to yourself. That's got to be number one rule, and find some happiness, because you can have the best possible diet, you can have the best exercise plans on the planet, but actually, if you're still stressed to the eyeballs, it's not going to make an eightpence of difference. You have to just start by being kind to yourself and finding those happy spots. Once you're kind of accepting those type of things, then you can start to put some plans in place and, reach out to people and have that conversation. Find out what it is that motivates you. What are the things that you really do value in life? Things that make you happy, things that make you get out of bed. And if it's just a case of linking those bits to your transformation, even for that brief period of time, then straight away you'll make a difference. So for me, for example, my health and fitness was never top of my agenda. So I had to dig deep and think, actually, what are the things that get me out of bed in the morning? You know, and that was, it's, you know, being there for my family. I want to make sure I'm there, can help them, support them, love them, give them a platform to be even better than I am. You know, be there for my friends, because, you know, it's great having a laugh with people for a start off, but also, you know, helping and supporting them, because everyone has good times and bad times. You need to share the good and have help with the bad.
Yeah.
You know, and obviously being there for my clients, because, you know, I do enjoy doing what I do. It's actually quite good fun. It's motivating, and you know, people deserve to get the best if they can.
Great advice there.
So finding what gets me out of bed, I was then able to say, okay, if I didn't sort myself out, then actually I couldn't help those people either.
So it's finding that thing that'll motivate them. Yeah.
And there's always something. I mean, let's face it. Holidays is a great one.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'll put a bet most people, even when they're absolutely maxed out with time at work, you know, busy as ever, or they've got cash flow problems, you know, you've got maybe having to stick on a credit card or something, or whatever else, you will find that time to have that holiday.
Yeah.
Which means straight away that has become your highest value, right?
Yeah.
And you will move heaven and earth to make sure that happens.
So they could link that to something that they really want.
So why can't you do that with health?
Great advice. Martin, where can people find you?
You'll find me on the internet, obviously. Most people are. So I'm on the usual things: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. Usually find me as Martin Sharp UK. So find me there, or Sharp Fit for Life. And if you want to find the website, it's martinsharp.com.
Martin, you've been absolutely brilliant. Martin Sharp. How amazing was that? I'm sure so many people can relate to Martin's journey, and I hope that really helped. You are going to be blown away with my next guest. With me today, I have Bammeke Ababua, and she's a food addiction coach who had a huge life transition in her 50s. And she's here to tell us all about it. Bammeke, welcome.
Oh, thanks very much. Yeah, I'm still 21 though in my heart. Well, I mean, for me, it was, it was a transition from doing dentistry, which I was doing for 35 years, into food addiction coaching. But it was a time where I just thought, enough was enough. I want to follow my heart, really.
Yeah.
And, you get to a certain stage in your life. Well, I did. And I thought, what do I want to do for the next, 10, 20 years of my life? And love it and really enjoy it. Not like I don't enjoy dentistry, I did, very grateful for it, but it wasn't my passion.
Okay.
And it's great to have a fantastic profession, but it was this which was, really important to me. And, seeing so many people struggling with food and not knowing how or why they are struggling, and that there's a basis to addiction with a lot of food at the moment.
Okay.
That, and I'd gone through this myself. So it was something where I wanted to help other people understand and raise awareness. So
you were a dentist,
Yeah.
and you had food addiction?
It was addiction in general, so it was alcohol. So I was definitely a kind of addiction person, whether it's workaholism, alcohol, shopping. But the overriding one was, first of all, alcohol, which, was the bane of my life for 20, 30 years.
Okay.
And then overcoming that, thank goodness, 14 years sober, I went straight into food, which was insidious, and within a few months it just felt exactly the same as addiction. That it was I was preoccupied with it, I was obsessing over it. I had to have my special foods, it was, and I kept thinking this is exactly the same as alcohol addiction. It is the same feeling that I was having and the same reasons why I was hiding food, sneaking food, binge eating, whereas binge drinking before. And I thought, this is addiction. Addiction is addiction. And, I managed to get help with that as well. But then I found my own kind of path. So 14 years sober and almost
Amazing.
14 years with, kind of with a balanced, peaceful attitude around food.
Yeah.
And I just found my own journey, kind of my holistic journey
what
as well.
What was that journey?
I was very drawn to kind of the alternative side. So a friend of mine, because I was suggested I go onto Prozac to kind of calm me down, and I just knew for a fact that if I go onto Prozac, I'm going to be addicted to that as well. I'm not going to come off it.
Right, okay.
So a friend of mine said, why don't you go and see a friend of mine? She's a shaman. And I thought, what's a shaman? I didn't want to know what a shaman was at all. And I said, I'm just going to go with an open mind and see this lady. She's lovely. She's a friend of mine today. And I just remember kind of lying on this couch, closed eyes, and could smell the incense and things being plonked on me. And, I opened one eye and I saw these crystals all over me. And, for me, it was, I had to keep an open mind. I was desperate because I didn't want to go back to either drinking or just binging on something, anything. And probably about 2 or 3 sessions later, I just felt as though everything was okay. Whatever happens in my life, everything's okay. And there was a lot going on at the time because of the consequences of what, my addiction. So I just thought, well, there's something in this, because I wasn't a skeptic, but I was open-minded. But I thought, this is working for me and I feel comfortable. At the moment, I feel really, really good. So I kind of went into looking into things like Reiki and crystals, and I was just really greedy for it. And just found out how it helped me, how it helped other people, and so I took the courses, etc. So I've really worked on the holistic side in my recovery, so using crystals, energy work, breath work, all of those things, meditation, practicing a lot of gratitude as well, and those have kept me balanced over the years. And I'll just say I think it's a lifestyle for everybody, whether you're addicted or not, because it just keeps you peaceful and calm, and you can deal with things in a more rational way, curveballs in life, things that are thrown at you, you can handle them more because you've got this well-being toolkit.
So for me, I'm all over the place, okay? I'm here, there and everywhere. My mind is constantly racing. What would you suggest for somebody like me? Would you use crystals?
Yeah, I would for a start. Yeah.
What kind of crystal?
Oh, I've got my little cool next to me here.
As it happens.
As it happens. Well, first of all, and I just love my crystals. The number one, really pretty and gorgeous, but number two, they're very, very powerful. And if you're kind of, what's the word? All over the place, then you need that calm and focus, and you need that balance. And the first go-to is amethyst. So that's a beautiful amethyst there. That's purple. You can come in slightly different colours as well, deep purple, light purple. But that really gives you a lovely focus.
Then what would I do with this?
Well, what would you do with it? You'd first of all, because I've handled it, for instance, if you buy this in the shop or online, lots of people have put their energies on that.
Okay.
Yeah, so you don't want anybody else's energies. So what you need to do is, with this particular crystal, not all crystals you can put underwater, but you can put this under running water, and then just kind of have it cleanse, cleanse it, bless it.
How do you cleanse it?
Just hold it in the water and just kind of close your eyes, put your hand on your heart and just say, I bless this crystal, please help. You're working with it. It's almost like your worker, please help me to sustain calmness and peace and joy and focus as well. And then just take it out of the water, dry it. As I said, you've blessed it and program it to work with you. And then I'd probably, when you have 10 minutes, again, it's taking time for yourself as well. This is all about self-care. So maybe take 10, 15 minutes. I know you're busy, you're a busy mum, and 10, 15 minutes to yourself and, lie on the bed, for instance, and pop it on your forehead. That's kind of your third eye.
Okay.
So that's the chakra that it's meant to be on, just to give you that calm and focus for 10 minutes and just relax. Some people have a little pendant, for instance, of amethyst, so it's kind of here on the chest.
How do they work? Like, what is it that they're actually doing?
Right, so this is kind of, a lot of people kind of go, oh, they don't work, it's all a bit woo-woo.
So what would you say to those?
Right, so I'm going to say, just from a kind of scientific level, that everything is vibration, everything is frequency, everything vibrates at a frequency, so do crystals. And crystals vibrate at a frequency which is very stable. So each crystal has a very different but stable frequency. And some of those frequencies can lock into our frequency. So if, for instance, we are, as you said, a little bit, scatty, then, you are kind of emanating a unstable frequency. So it needs to be recalibrated, and that's where a crystal with the natural frequency of your calm thoughts comes in. So like, for instance, amethyst, that will have the frequency of calm. So if you pop that on there, it'll recalibrate your own frequency. So it's kind of fine-tuning you, really. So their vibration is fine-tuning your vibration.
So depending on what the person has going on,
for instance,
will depend what crystal would be best for them.
Exactly. So we've got citrine here.
And what does that one do?
This is my favourite. This is your solar plexus, which is here above your navel. And this is the seat of joy and confidence and increased self-worth, feeling connected to the world, expressing yourself.
Oh, nice.
And so I really love this. And it's the energy, it's called the merchant stone as well. So it's the energy of abundance, so abundance in life.
Oh, I love
and
that.
all areas. So yeah, I love it too. So this will be here. So you could have this again, lie down, put it on your stomach, or just have them in a pouch. You can put all the crystals that you want to work with for the day and pop it in a little pouch like that, or a smaller pouch, stick it in your pocket. I normally stick them down my bra, for instance, and let them work with you through the day. And it's quite interesting because at the end of the day, I kind of think, how come I've had such a great day? You know, and it's like, bra off, there goes my crystals,
can you tell the difference when you've got your crystals on you and when you haven't?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And it's just a subtle, it's almost like a subtle uplift.
Yeah.
It's not anything, whoa,
Yeah.
but it's just a subtle feeling and just feeling energized and balanced and calm, and you can deal with whatever comes your way and feel joy in life. And at the end of the day, I deal with recovery and addiction. It's all about finding that joy. If recovery didn't have the joy in it, there's no point. You may as well stay addicted to whatever you're addicted to. So I do think finding your joy, finding your natural bliss, and lots of things to be grateful for.
Oh,
so I just think it's absolutely wonderful. Yeah.
And you do such amazing work. I know that you work with so many high-profile people as well.
Yeah.
What's the biggest thing that they struggle with when they're trying to break that addiction?
I think the biggest thing is the they think they can break it through their own willpower, because they're very, very successful people. They're very intelligent.
Okay.
They've done well in every other area of their life. And they're thinking, how come I can just do this through willpower and through sheer determination, and, you know, real high flyers, and they're just humble. How the heck can I not break this habit? What is going on? And it can tear you down, have a real mental impact on you, you know, physical impact, and, you know, kind of very emotional. So it's sort of saying that addiction isn't about willpower. It's not about being lazy or greedy or anything like that. It's about, you cannot think your way out of it. You do need support, you do need strategies.
And what kind of strategies do you use, and what kind of support do you give?
The support I give is like keeping it, I'm kind of like their quiet cheerleader, but I kind of give the strategies of, you know, getting a plan in place, daily routine. A lot of people who are very, very busy, their daily routines sometimes become a bit helter-skelter. So really getting into finding time for self-care, finding non-related habits. So for instance, you know, the daily routine, daily rituals like breath work and meditation, calming the brain down, because they're very, very hectic. It's very, very chaotic lives that many lead. So it's really kind of talking about the power of the pause, which means just slowing down. So the brain's not going from fright and flight, it's going from fright and flight to, you know, rest and digest. A lot of us at the moment in society are on chaos, on fright, flight, and it's about calming our brains down to what we call the parasympathetic nervous system, which is calming. So it's all about the meditation, the breath work, the going for the long walks, the gratitude, making sure that your schedule isn't overwhelming, finding that space to do that. And then techniques on reframing, mindset techniques. I also do a lot of, because also addiction is related to a lot of trauma as well. So, you know, looking at things like somatic experiencing, body movement, techniques such as tapping, the crystals as well. So there's a lot of energy alignment that I use with my work, as well as the, kind of the talking therapy.
Absolutely,
and getting people
brilliant.
into balance.
And what's the biggest transformation that you've seen with somebody you've worked with?
I think the biggest transformation I've seen is somebody going from really knowing that they could get to the next level, but were really scared to, and they thought it was because they didn't have the confidence. But once we broke down and realised that with their addiction it was affecting their confidence, and really doing the energy work with them, getting their solar plexus going, get the solar plexus, all this, you know, we need to balance everything, and really worked on this, because that was blocked. So really working on the solar plexus along with everything else that we were doing, that they could reach that next level.
Amazing.
And they are now, they are now very well known.
Oh,
that was,
absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Bammeke, where can people find you?
Right, they can find me on www.thefoodaddictioncoach.co.uk.
Absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much for joining me today.
You're welcome.
Bammeke Ababua.
Thank you.